AITA for taking my son for my custody time and not his half-brother. I have an 8-year-old son with my ex-wife. During her second pregnancy I was still married to and thought the baby was mine. But then I learned she cheated and she had told the other guy that he was the father. I left the marriage and filed for divorce, and when ex's son was born I took a DNA test which proved I was not the father to her younger son. We also did DNA on my son during the divorce. He is my biological son. The divorce went through. I pay a small amount of child support to even things out at her house because I earn more than my ex. Ex was with this other guy for a few months of her son's life, but then he was no longer around. Once he dropped out of the picture, she tried crawling back to me. She said our son was lucky to have me and she'd love a dad for her second son. I told her she better go out and find a good man then and not cheat on him. She looked shocked and I told her she was delusional if she thought I would trust her again or want to raise her son as my own after what she did. She told me it would be better for the boys to be together always, and that with a 4-year age gap they will never know the half stuff if she and I were to work together and raise them as ours. I firmly said no and told her she needed to focus on finding someone else if she wanted to give her son a father figure. 4 years on and my ex did not find someone else and she still tries to push her son onto me. I had to bring her back to court to arrange a neutral place for us to do exchanges of our son because when I picked him up from her house, she would have her younger son ready and waiting to come with me. It became a problem and she refused to stop, so I thought meeting at some location for exchanges would help. It worked for a small period of time, but then Friday when I was picking my son up for my parenting time, she brought her younger son along and he had a bag packed and waiting to come with me. He walked over with my son and held his arms out like he wanted to be hugged or held and said he was coming too. He looked so happy. I felt bad because I was not going to bring him. I gently told him to return to his mom. Poor kid looked so confused. I left with my son quickly so no fight could ensue. Ex started texting me late Friday night and all day yesterday saying I was a D and I should have had my heart melt enough to let him come. She said I have proven to be an amazing dad to our son and she just wants the same for her son. Then she told me our son wanted his brother at my house and I was an ass for ignoring that too. I spoke to my son yesterday and he never asked for that or said he wanted it. He did say his mom told him to say he wanted his half-brother at my house too and that he wanted me to be his half-brother's daddy. But he didn't care. Ex's words get to me though. Maybe because I know her son doesn't really have anyone outside my ex and my son is more into friends than his half-brother. AITA.